Is it possible that Tiger King's Joe Exotic is trying to get help from Carole Baskin, his arch enemy, who put him in prison? I mean, put himself in prison, technically.
Yeah.
To get out of prison? Yeah.
Carole and Howard Baskin said that they would vow to help me get a pardon if I would support the Big Cat Safety Act. It is time for Carole and Howard to put up or shut the hell up, because I'm accepting their offer.
Not the best negotiating
No.
tool.
No.
Just by saying that, I'm like, never mind it.
Forget it. I mean, it's like,
This
it
guy.
felt not threatening, but it felt not right. I don't know how to describe it, but it felt not right the way just his
Put up
tone,
or shut up?
aggressive.
Yeah.
Just,
That's terrible.
That's not how you do it. It's like, fine, I'll do it, okay.
I know.
Well, now I don't want you to do it at all. Forget it.
That's like Katie saying, I'm going to help you with this someday at your house, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden I turn around and say, Katie, if you're not going to do it, then shut up then.
Right. You're just,
Then
no.
wouldn't you say, oh, never mind,
I don't
want to
do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Forget
And
you.
anyways, how does Carole Baskin have any power whether or not Joe Exotic gets a pardon?
That's a great question.
Cat Safety Act, the way it's written, is not going to help anybody except PETA and Carole Baskin. So, other than that, they need to stay the hell out of the news with all their crap just to get their name in the paper, because I just called their bluff. Listen, if I live through this, because my health is deteriorating by the day, we're going to turn this into something good.
It switched. It switched there at the end, didn't it?
Yeah.
His tone.
Right.
I think
It
he
did.
got a warning.
Yeah, they're like-
I think he got a warning. What are you doing? You're going to ruin this whole thing.
Right.
But
He has no
what is
leverage.
Carole Baskin's power here? I don't understand it.
It's a great question. We have our official attorney, Lisa Lanier, on the phone.
Oh.
Good morning, Lisa.
Hello.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, he's quite the negotiator, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, that's how you start off a negotiation. You tell the person offering you a deal to basically shut the hell up.
I'm going to try that in my next negotiation with our GM. First of all, shut up, Dick. Give me a raise.
I wouldn't.
up.
I wouldn't.
No, ain't going to work. It don't work anywhere.
No. So, it's interesting. He's serving a 22-year sentence in federal prison. Carole and her husband now are working really hard to get this piece of legislation passed at the national level. It's already passed the House of Representatives, and it prevents the sale, ownership, and breeding of these big cats. And the effort is, there's also a public safety element to it, because people, get mauled by these things that are not really, they grow up. They look cute when they're little, and they grow up and they're a big cat. But they really did legitimately reach out to him, the husband, Carole's husband, the one who didn't disappear, right? The one that's still there.
Good point.
He actually made the offer, and he said, look, if this guy, and they put it, they put it in a very conditional kind of a statement. He has to say, I now know what I did was wrong, and I want to help. He has to literally say that. And he has to say, I support the passage of the Big Cat Public Safety Act to stop the breeding of big cats, blah, blah, blah. And, it's not, she does not have a lot of power to help him, but he is just grasping at any kind of straw he can. He was on the list when President Trump was in his last hours of office. He was on the list, and he thought he was going to be pardoned, and usually that's a deal worked out by
Yeah.
Was
attorneys.
he really on the list? It's like his name was on a
He
list.
thought, you remember,
I know he
had,
thought
yeah.
that, but
Actually-
I thought it was like
Yeah,
he just
yeah.
was randomly saying that. What list was he on? Like who got him on the
No.
list?
So there's actually a list that presidents, especially the biggest. There's actually a person, a lawyer, usually whose full-time job it is to help the president with pardons and commutations of sentences and stuff like that. And all year long, or all term long, a lot of times there are lawyers lobbying for people like Joe Exotic, explaining to, and sometimes it's groups, like public interest groups, who have been working with somebody wrongfully convicted or convicted on very thin evidence. And so they will lobby, and the president will ask questions through this council. And he was apparently on the short list, and so much so, thinking that he was going to be released. You remember he had the big the stretch truck limo thing, and
He had a hairstylist.
waiting
and-
for him
had
to
his
come out.
hairstylist.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, had his hairstylist waiting. So he's been working on a lot of different avenues. But here, what the deal would be, there are various forms of what's called post-conviction relief when you're charged with a federal crime. One is that when he comes up for parole, the fact that the victim is willing to support his release would help a lot, because
Okay.
it show and the fact that the victim would say, look, he went to work for my side of things. I have forgiven him, and he's admitted wrongdoing and admitted, that he's sorry for his actions. So that kind of thing would go a long way. But the problem is he doesn't come up for parole until the year 2034. That's 13 years from now.
Oh, man.
So, that's a long time from now. I don't think that's what he's thinking. I think he's thinking that his lawyers are going to file a motion for some post-conviction relief. And there are a few avenues for that. There's compassionate release, which is usually reserved for elderly and terminally ill people. He does have an autoimmune condition that apparently requires monthly blood transfusions.
Jeez.
And supposedly, according to him, he has not been treated properly from a medical standpoint. When he did this interview with, I think it was TMZ, he was actually in the medical unit of the prison where he has a little bit more freedom to use the phone and that sort of thing. So it could be that if his health is truly failing, he might use compassionate release, and then her statement would help. There are a few others, but most of them have to do with their incarceration violating some other law or something. So I think that's about his best hope. That or a parole hearing. And he does get a credit for good behavior every year for a few weeks for every year that he serves. So that might cause that parole date to be shifted forward.
Can't see him being on his best behavior.
Not if he's talking to people like that.
I know. Well, he's very egomaniac. But to be clear, he hired somebody to kill Carole Baskin, right? And it's been proven. And he got 20.
He actually did it twice. He tried to do it twice, right? Because first he paid the guy that he knew to do it, and then when that failed, he offered an FBI agent, an undercover FBI agent, an even bigger amount of money. He offered an FBI agent $10,000, and it was all recorded, all played for the jury that led to his conviction.
And I think we forget that because we like him on TV.
Yeah.
But it's like, if somebody did that to one of your family members, you would want to make sure they were locked
But
up.
why would Carole Baskin even want to help him out in the first place?
know.
Because I would be like, no, thank you. This guy tried to set me up twice to have me killed.
Right.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Unless murderers have something in common.
Right.
Maybe.
Allegedly. That's what I was going to say. Maybe there's some guilt there because she's like, well, I've killed people. Allegedly.
I would be thinking, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Why not have him on my side? He's never getting out.
Right.
And if he does, it's going to be Lisa, you said like around 13 years when he's up for parole. So
13 years when he's eligible for parole. I think her reasoning behind this is purely publicity because he gains a lot of notoriety with anything he does, and like this, he's running his mouth to TMZ from the prison. So it's getting her cause a lot of attention.
Now, we're talking to our official attorney.
point.
That's true, yeah.
It does.
Lisa Lanier. Is it possible he could do a show from prison? I mean, they have these, like, sometimes they have these, they can't.
No.
Yeah, I don't think they'll let him do that. I mean, there are circumstances where, documentary or even, reality TV producers work out deals with prisons to do shows about life in prison and that sort of thing. But you don't really see it about one particular, notable inmate like this, and I don't think it would ever happen.
Yeah, because I guess you see sometimes they'll have a series of serial killers for one thing that they'll go and talk to them in prison, but it's not just one guy.
And those are so good.
Yeah, it's bizarre,
Yeah,
but it's several of them, so yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess my wish to have him back on TV is not going to happen.
I think you need to give it up. It's time.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. Stranger things have happened.
That's true. And especially when it comes to, we're still hearing from Joe Exotic from behind bars. So he's not going to go down easily, I don't think, or go away easily.
And it seems like Carole Baskin likes the limelight, like y'all mentioned as well. Since we have you on the phone, Lisa Lanier, our official attorney, thought this was interesting and something that I think we all wish we could do. There's a guy under investigation, except for this part, after skipping out on work, but still getting paid for 15 years.
How does that work?
He pretty much quit his job. My understanding, he threatened the person, like HR person or whatever, to like, don't say that I don't work here anymore. He just collected the paycheck for 15 years.
Whoa.
Dream.
And he never went back to work. How much trouble is this guy in?
Oh, he's in a ton of trouble. And the crazy thing is he worked for the government, so he's even in more trouble.
Oh, God, of course.
He worked for a government-run hospital. And so, that's usually where it's funny, like in the private sector, things like this happen, and they don't usually get caught as readily as they do when it happens with a government job, because government is often audited on a much more regular basis, and they find these sorts of things. Although 15 years, my gosh, they should have found it sooner, you would think. But he is facing prison for fraud. He owes $650,000 in restitution because he took him for, that's how much he took him for over 15 years, $650,000. Wow. This actually happens more often than you would think. There was a story just a couple of years ago in the United States where a man in Houston, he retired, but then they kept paying him. They made a clerical error. So he worked for a big company, and they kept paying him for 6 years. And then they finally figured it out because they went to give him an award for his 20th anniversary, 20 years of service, and they were like, that guy hadn't been here in years. So they figured it out.
Wow.
Well, it turned out he had moved to Spain. And so they really are not even going to be able, they tried some extradition process with Spain, and they basically, the courts in Spain said, we treat that differently here. If you want, we can fine him $30,000, and that's it. So he made out.
That's pretty
Spain's
nice.
the place for me.
Yeah,
then.
sounds like.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down, Spain, in case you do something shady. All right, she's great. Official attorney of Jared and Katie in the Morning, Lisa Lanier. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
If you're ever injured on the job, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com.